strangers. And because you have to take a reflective attitude and just be like, this is what's going on. Yeah. Yeah. And I have something going on. But with your friends, I always feel nervous when I'm with a friend at a show because of that social pressure. Like, I feel like, do they love it? Do they hate it? Because usually I bring someone who wouldn't be at that play unless it was for me.
You're like, this is my fault.
Yeah.
So I hope you like it.
And I'm there for the play. But often they're there, it's like we're doing something together,
yeah.
you know? And I'm like, yeah, and then I'm gonna say hi to like a lot of people for 20 minutes after. And you're gonna like stand weird.
I've been like in and out of New York so much, and every time I come back to the city, the first time I go to theater, I forget that everyone I know ever will be there, and that the activity isn't going to see the show. It's like going to see the show and then seeing all of these people that I've met. And the first time especially, I'm always like, get me out of here. And then I'm like, okay, this is the activity. But I wonder, and yet like it's, you know, the audience who aren't theater makers going to theater, so like what is the experience really bringing to them? And I don't know. I went and saw in an apartment last week and it was so nice. There's so many theater buildings here that I don't like going to, that like I don't feel comfortable in them. And it was so, the first time I went to Miami, which is like a bazillion years ago now, the dude who I was dating at the time was super tall, and we went and saw, it was like this Trojan Landman show, I think, and we were sitting in the balcony, and some old lady yelled at him because he was like leaning forward so he could see, and she was like, I can't see because you're leaning forward. And then like 5 minutes after the show ended, we're trying to leave, another old lady yelled at us, and it was just like, I don't understand what we're doing wrong, like, we're not doing anything wrong. Yeah. Why are you yelling at us? And I feel like I don't know, that there isn't, that building feels cold to me in this way. And I do desire, like, I'm not religious, I don't go to church. I do desire a level of like, this is a time I'm with people who I don't know in a space that I want to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And like the actual architecture of a lot of theaters makes me feel put out of it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that experience you had is really interesting, like, because it is intimate. It's like you made an agreement to come to hang out with these strangers, basically, to see this thing, and they felt like, you were like, that doesn't mean you can talk to me in this way, and they were like, yes, we can, because we're at this thing together. And
they feel ownership over that space because they're like probably subscriber, like literally the first, you know, we were young and got student tickets or whatever, so we're already sort of like, do we belong here? We've never been here. Yeah. And then that the vibe is like, no, you're doing it wrong. But I'm like, I have been going to theater my whole life. Am I really like, have I really done something that wrong?
Yeah, yeah. That certain audience members are maybe more at home in that theater than others. I mean, I have thought about that, but just not in like the subscriber way, which is like pretty literal. Like you might feel, yeah, I guess I thought about that at Trinity when I would go to shows at Trinity because it did feel like the audience like had a personality. I mean, I know audiences have a personality. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I just, yeah.
No, no, but Trinity specifically, like, that's a community. Like, Trinity feels as much like a community theater as a professional theater because their subscribers are so, I don't know, they've been going forever. Yeah. And they love it so much, and they're there to see the actors be different characters or whatever. Yeah. Whereas I would go to Trinity and be like, what am I watching?
Yeah,
what is happening?
Seriously,
I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
But I wonder, and then I work at the Star, so when I'm there, I feel great, but then I watch people come in and be like, where the fuck am I? What's going on? Yeah. Like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be, and so like, what, I don't know, how much, because there's not really a lobby at the Stars. So it's like you get there, and if you're a little bit early, like the door's closed and you're basically in the hallway, and like someone from their apartment might come out. So like, yeah.
In that hallway?
Yeah.
Like the door?
I saw it. I was there. We were rehearsing yesterday, and we went downstairs for the annex, and Noel was going to the theater for a staff meeting, and some girl I knew came to open the door right across the hall from the theater, and I was like, wait, you live here? She was like, no, my boyfriend lives here. But when the Stars started, there were no apartments, but now there are apartments, and the people who have moved into the apartments hate the Stars. So it's also like a weird vibe in the hallways sometimes, because they're like, we live here, you're allowed. And it's like, no, the Stars been here before anyone lived here, so like who? But then you go in and it feels like wonderful, but that first sort of arriving, if you've never been to that block, it's sort of like, where am I? That's Carteret. Am I in the right place? Okay, now I'm stuck in a hallway. What's going on?
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, I don't know. You can't make everyone comfortable.
No. Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. And there's so many different, and then with so many like plays, then just feel like I'm watching a screen anyway. So I'm like, well,
yeah.
Is this intimate? Like,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like I do feel, it's interesting, like I do not often, sometimes I feel together in an audience, and sometimes I feel alone, like at a movie, like I'm having my experience of the play. Yeah, I wonder what that is, like how people can get ownership over the play, or is that, or like feel.
Well, it's also the question, like, to me, there's the, like, I watch lots of TV, and, like, Grey's Anatomy, I cry at every episode. Parenthood, I cry at every episode, because, like, there's music that tells me to cry.
Yeah.
And and in my own work, too, I'm constantly talking to directors and talking to designers about how I want to leave more, and not to be so prescriptive, not to be like, this is the emotional part now. And like to leave room for the audience to have a different experience from each other.
Yeah.
But like, is that, I don't know, not like I hate this, but to leave room for them to sort of feel whatever they are feeling. But then is that like, is that the being alone with people?
Well, I think you can be with people and be feeling different stuff. But this reminds me actually of another thing on questions. This. Wasn't there one, if you are unengaged by a performance, where do you go? Where does the performance go? Like, to me, like, that relates to what happens at the end of a play. Like, what is that moment, and how does that moment become charged with something more possible? Or, because it feels like a really key moment. Like, I mean, it could be so many more things than this, but like, most basically, like the first thing that comes to my mind, I want the world to be open. And I feel like that has to do with why I make theater or whatever. I think I would make theater anyway, but I want to change the world.
You also want the world to be different.
Yeah.
It's a shit show, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I want people to something to happen. I don't know. It's for the end of the play to be different than the beginning of the play in the audience experience realm.
But do you have a specific thing that you want to happen, or do you just want something to happen?
I think I really desire, I would like the audience to feel more connected to themselves and each other, I think. But I don't think about that a ton when I'm writing. But it feels like and I think what happens after could have a lot to do with that, or before. You know, like I think often about the Théâtre du Soleil, like model of the dinner before the show thing, and then there's sometimes where there's dinner after the show, or something happens after the show, or there's a conversation which often is like informational about who is in the audience with you, but often doesn't feel like a time to actually have a conversation for myself, because I don't talk.
Well, yeah. I hate talkbacks, but I do like it if people have an opportunity. Like, how do you create space for people to talk to each other and not run away without it being a talkback?
Yeah.
Because talkbacks feel dead and useless and like not the opposite of intimacy, and I feel, or for myself, I'm like, now if I did feel connected to people, now I don't, and I just want everyone to stop doing this.
A lot of talkbacks, or I don't know, like the last few talkbacks that I've been in have been about the set primarily, like, or about like how did you remember that many lines, you know?
Shows or not?
No, it was that. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I was in. I went to like a regional theater or like a summer theater situation, and so it was like they were running in rep. So people were really obsessed with how they actually did the play in like the most literal way, and it was just like these people are professionals. I did that.
I went and saw children's theater growing up all the time at Seattle Children's Theater, which is like amazing. And then I would go back as an adult, and I loved their shows, and the talkbacks were so funny because it was kids being like, how did you remember all those lines? Is that real blood? And in that context, I'm like, this is adorable.
Yeah. But that's actually the exact same. And I remember there's this one guy who like really got the play and really asked very deep questions about the play text, basically. And it was like, and then of course the actors were doing the talkback. And it was like weird. Like no one knew how to engage with like that level of question. Like it was a Bernard Shaw play. And he was like just asking so many questions like about how it relates to us and like
why this thing now.
Yeah, like these deep qualities of the play, and they were just like, it was like no one was ready to have that conversation really.
Certainly not the actors.
Yeah.
We're like, I just didn't remember all those lines.
Yeah. The actors were like,
Sorry, nothing. No, also that same question, where do you go? So the composer I'm working with is not a theater person, and he's now been seeing a lot more theater, and because I've seen a lot of performance of various kinds, some of which I like and some of which I don't, have over time developed a lot of techniques for how to like disengage without seeming like I'm disengaged, but like save my mental space, such as like counting the lights in the grid, or like thinking really hard about what the play would be like if everyone is in like fake animal costumes, or like just like actually thinking super hard about anything but what I'm watching while still being awake and like looking towards the performance. Over time, this has happened.
No. I need to develop these strategies a little bit because I'm always enraged. I get really rageful.
So does Jeff, and we had seen something, and afterwards, he was like trying to talk about it, and I was like, oh, I don't know what happened. I was thinking about other stuff. What are you talking about? I just had actually watched that whole thing. Like, sorry. And the same, we worked on a piece in February, and we had actual auditions for it. So again, like in terms of weird intimacies, so we're like in a shitty room, it's snowing, we're in the basement of South Oxford Space, in like a box room, the director, composer, and I, we like get through the first round of all these like lovely people coming in, singing these songs for us. We take our first break, and Jeff's just like,
I don't even understand why they're here. And he got like actually upset because it's like, doing auditions is fucking weird. And you're like sitting at a table, all these people are coming in like, you know, putting on a show for you, and you like some of them and you don't like some of them, but like trying to be like really nice and open. And I've had to do this activity a lot of times. So again, it's a thing that I've like, do the activity, be as nice as possible, try and have like a nice audition room. But in terms of like what it actually is, I don't pay attention to it anymore. And he actually started like tearing up because he felt like so much for these people coming in. I'm like, oh right, I have a black heart now because I've like deadened myself. Because if I were that engaged every time I have to do this, I would just be like, I'm sorry. I know being an actor is so awful. Like auditioning is so horrible. I wish that like, even when someone's like so great, it's still like, you have to do this all the time and you don't get cast for the weirdest reasons that have nothing to do with how good or not good you are. And you have to like do it in front of a bunch of people. Fast forward, like that's what you do when you're on stage also, but like no one's like thumbs up, thumbs down with you. I don't know.
Well, I feel like, I mean, this thing on auditions, just one thought, is that what's so cool about it is that it's a contextless performance. And that is going to fail, like definitely. And so it's just very awful. Like, and it's hard for it to lead to good art making. It's like a triumph.
Oh yeah.
It can do that from a place that is so, the performance is crafted in no relationship to the situation in which it will be delivered, or maybe a little, I guess.
Sometimes, I don't know. It's so, also I feel like all the reality TV shows have like made audition rooms even worse because everyone thinks that like it's the American Idol panel who are there to be like, you're terrible, I hate you. And I'm like, no, all I ever want is like for you to feel comfortable and be great. Like all I want is for someone to walk in who's like, you're perfect, now we can go home because I'm fucking tired.
Yeah.
But like the sort of adversarial way that TV has made people think, and maybe other people's audition rooms are like that. I was like, no, thank you for coming.
Yeah. So I have like a couple questions that feel related to this. One is like, okay, so you said we did actual auditions for this piece. So is that like unusual for you? Or, because I was thinking about this question of intimacy in terms of like who I work with, like, and the difference between working with people I'm very close to or like people I didn't know before or something. And then I think that also relates to this question, like, where does the performance go? And your question of like, I can't stay engaged on this level with what's happening. Because I think that could have, that you were talking about that in audition land, but like, I feel like that happens in general. Like, seeing theater I feel disconnected from it because it happens to me a lot. Or making theater, you know, I feel disconnected from it. And there's that whole stereotype or thing that actually is true where you just make something and you try to be intimate with people because that's how good work gets done for like a little bit, and then everyone goes away and like, are you actually friends? Do you want to be friends? Like, was this like, what was this? Like, what does happen to that? Anyway, so these are...
Yes. I feel like part of, as like playwright, director, part of...
You director?
Not usually. I am right now, but only because I was like, we're doing this really fast and we're doing it really light.
Yeah.
I don't usually, but I used to direct stuff that stresses me out too much. It makes me feel weird.
Yeah.
But I feel like, especially the director's job, and I've talked to this with lots of directors I work with, is like to create immediate intimacy with the entire ensemble, whether or not they've met each other before, whether or not they like each other from like day one.
Yeah.
And how then,
actually having intimacy in your own life becomes really fucking difficult because you're so often creating that space for all of these people to feel good about working with each other, especially on new plays where it's like, this might be a really weird thing that we're doing, like we all need to buy into it, or it's gonna be a fucking train wreck for the next like 6 weeks, and then we may or may not ever see each other again, but like for these 6 weeks, you're my best friend ever, and and so then what does that mean? Have you like spent all of that energy in the work, and how are you then a person outside of the work?
I mean, I think it's really intense. Like, I feel like what if you hated that? You know, like, and then but you can't hate it. You have to find a way in. And that's part of what's beautiful about acting, but like also like.
You mean like as a performer, if you hated it, or
yeah, I feel like performers a lot of times they can't drive what's going on. You know, so that's why it feels different to me for them, because I'm not in that position. You know, I'm not gonna totally hate it. Or if I totally hate it, it's like
you'll change it. Yeah, really. Well, and also like if I hate it, there's probably something wrong and I need to like fix it.
Right, that's a huge problem. Yeah.
No, well, and that's the thing, that's what I mean, especially directors setting a tone in the room to like, going back to one of the things you said, I think in general I work with people that I know. So it's not the piece we're doing right now, but the piece we did in February. We had to have auditions because we needed singers, and collectively, Jeff had just moved here, I hadn't done something that needed singers.
Yeah.
So like collectively we didn't just have people, so it's like, okay, no, new people, and then this show is a bunch of those people. Because it's like once I love working with people over and over again, and I still like work with people I went to undergrad with as much as I can, and like I've been in your now for a long time, like, but it's, you don't always have the right person, or they're not available, and so then like also new people coming into a situation that's already been set up where everyone else knows each other, like hopefully everyone will get along. I don't know, it's like summer camp or something. Over and over. Do you work with this? Like what? Answer your own questions. That you just asked me.
I'm thinking a lot about that. I think like my process, I feel like I started making work. I don't know. I feel like I've always wanted to make work, and then always my imagination of the way I would make work is very different than how I actually do it.
What's the imaginative?
In my imagination, I have a company, and I make work with the same people every time. And I am a writer-director. And in real life, I usually have one I usually have one like confidant on a project, and that person has played various.
So like it could be a director or a dramaturg or an
actor.
Or an actor.
Yeah. And that's important. So that person I usually have a lot of intimacy with. It's like, and it feels very hard. I need that. I've learned that I need that, and I need to talk to that person about things that aren't the show. I need to be myself with that person, hang out with them. I would like to feel like that in a more group way, but I feel like that's not usually the scene. Like I hang out with people mostly who don't make theater. And so the theater people I hang out with are like, that's not like a huge category of my life. I mean, I feel like it's growing, like, but so that, and I think that's, companies kind of have to form that way, it seems like, especially now, because that's what's in it, intimacy. There's not much else that you can get artistic sustenance too, but I think intimacy seems to be what allows companies to remain together, right? I don't know.
Right, or then, well, I mean, I guess, I know a lot of companies of people who started in their early 20s and then all slept with each other, and then the company just is like, too much intimacy, now we all hate each other, and now we're going off to do this. So like, how do you, well, that, I mean, then on a more basic level, like, intimacy, the first thing that in culture that we mean when we say intimacy is like fucking. Like, that's actually not, so like an intimate friendship or an intimate collaboration that doesn't cross that line can, I think, be hard. It becomes strange because we're so enculturated at this point to like think that if you're intimate with someone, it should be some sort of like physical relationship. Or this is my like, having not started a company in my 20s and like observing people, that's sort of what it, and also like, you don't spend any time with, so going back to the other thing of like, if you're putting so much intimacy into the rehearsal room and you don't have any time for it in your own life, then these are the people you're with all the time anyway, and so it makes sense. But then like, how much intimacy is too much intimacy to keep making work?
Yeah, that is a thing. It's real.
Or like, you can come back, or I feel like there are companies that like come back from it and just like change and deal with it and whatever.
Yeah.
I like that in your imagination you have
Oh yeah, and I'm not the writer. We make stuff together. My writing is like really in response to like this whole physical thing that's happening in a room, and like that is not true in real life. Like it's just not true.
I feel like there's been times that that's been more true of my process, and I do think that like I used to in my imagination think that's what I did more than I really do, but I like writing for specific performers. Going back, so like to the like audition thing, because it's like, no, we need singers. So now we're having auditions, and it was already written already. And so then that's weird for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I like writing for specific people. I don't know if this is on our topic list, but I just want to talk about this. I've been feeling like I feel so weird being a writer in a rehearsal. Do you feel weird?
I just don't go to rehearsal most of the time. I like go to rehearsal
At the beginning and do rewrites really fast that I like know that I need to do. And then at a certain point, I stop going to rehearsal like in the middle when people are learning their lines, because I'm like, I know, like, I understand that I've been working on this for however long I've been working on it, and now everyone else needs to do their work, and me sitting here and like being annoyed that someone missed a word when they're literally learning their lines, or else I don't. My work tends to be quite personal in various ways, and I feel like the true answers to questions aren't the right answers for actors. And if I'm there, everyone defers to me about like what the question is. And I'm like, I'm gonna tell you something. It's not gonna help your performance necessarily. And then it puts me in a weird place. So there's like certain sort of like actory conversations that I would much rather let everyone form their own opinions about the work without having to worry if they're like, I don't know, saying something that will offend me or upset me or something. So I feel like if it's like a traditional 4-week process, I'll like go and then for a week and then not go for the middle 2 weeks other than to see like any runs, but like not be there for scene work or like staging, and then come back through tech. And that's the way that, cause I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here now that I finished my rewrites, like what? Unless the director is like, no, you need to come because like whatever is terrible and isn't working. rehearsal.
And then when you show up, what do you feel?
Usually happy because a bunch of like work has progressed and it's like awesome. Like you did a bunch of stuff and now I can see what it is and now I can do more rewrites if I need to. And I do think that it's also like going away and coming back lets me be like, what is this thing? Instead of like this thing.
Yeah. That's amazing. I haven't totally like let go of any process enough to not come to rehearsal. And I think
I recommend it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I really never, because I used to direct and I used to feel very, that used to force me to be close to the process in a certain way and close to the performance. And I don't think I'm a great director, but I think I got the performances that I got out of people because I would just push through, like all my bad directing impulses, I just let them all out. And we just, like, I think a lot of what I said was alienating, but my, like, being there with them, like, allowed us to get to something. And then now I have this experience, like, I'm not forced to be close to the actors like that. Like, I talk to the director, and I watch and feel, and then I give my notes to the director, and then she does stuff. And she gives them in an actorly way to the actors, because I don't give a good note to an actor. Or like, yeah, what you're saying, like, not that helpful.
It's not helpful.
But so now I feel like I'm this weird, and actually I've been told by an actor that I've worked with that I'm really weird in the rehearsal room.
What do you
I'm
do?
a really weird present. Just that I don't really talk to anyone, because I'm just like so weirded out to even hear my work aloud, or like the whole thing is just, I feel very exposed. I'm probably having a lot of feelings about the piece. Then all these people, then there's like this whole like political/social situation where like you want to relax and be social, but like I'm like in a writing space, you know, like I'm like alone with my text and they're just like the way that I hear it, and I'm just like, so I can't really talk. So I don't know, it's just like, I just wonder about that. Like, and it feels related to intimacy, because I feel like because I think that what feels weird about it is to feel so far. Like, I feel very far.
That's our signal. To stop.
Or to wind down.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I like talking. Oh, truth or dare. That's the last part.
Oh my god. Anyway, I don't talk about my feelings. But anyway.
I bring cupcakes.
Yeah.
And then I actually also don't talk to people very much. Also, I smoke at all. I have tried to quit smoking a bunch of times, and I can't because, I mean, I'm going to, and I'm gonna fucking get over it. But when I was trying to quit smoking, at one point I realized that if I went outside without having a cigarette, everyone thought something was wrong. And that like, I just need space from the work sometimes. Everything's going great. I just need to like go outside and not have someone come up behind me and be like, are you okay? It's like,
That's
no.
super weird. Whoa.
And there's no real reason to leave a building on a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break other than to smoke.
Yeah.
That doesn't, again, back to where we started the conversation, that isn't like, I'm looking at my phone because I'm alone.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's a very, like, it's an easy way to, like, remove myself when I need to and then, like, go back.
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm present, I'm not freaked out by what's going on. But because of myself, not because, like, the work is great, I'm a lunatic.
Yeah. That's a good takeaway. Yeah. So what's up with truth or dare?
I don't know.
Truth or dare?
Truth or dare?
No, it's
Truth or dare? Are you glad you're back in
so
New York?
Scared. Yeah, so glad. So glad. And I'm like scared I won't be able to stay, you know, but I'm like so glad. And I'm really scared in a freaky way. Like why do I feel like I can't live somewhere else? Like that's strange. A lot of people live other places. But so it's super weird, yeah. Oh no. You truth or dare?
Truth.
Okay. What is your strategy with this pilot?
I have a manager who just tells me what to do.
What? Really? Cool. Like she what?
No, she like gave me like it was like, okay, you're going to do like this little assignment. Now you're gonna do this little assignment. Now you're gonna do okay. This is the idea collectively. We all like these are our notes. Her and my agents. These are our notes.
Wow.
Now do an outline. Don't send it to everyone. Just send it to manager notes. Prescriptive notes. So into it. I'm like so tired. I don't want prescriptive notes on my plays, but I'm like, for this, just tell me what to do. Because I don't know what I'm doing, so tell me what to do.
And you're trying to do like a specific thing.
Yeah, and like I'm trying to like get also I definitely my writing in general is like very sort of I write fast, it's sort of trancy, I definitely don't have outlines, and with the pilots like this is my outline, got approved, now writing it.
We have to end. Thank you all for coming, and we still have a lot of letters left, so if someone wants to take a letter, it's in a stamped envelope that's an address. Read the letter, write a response, write your return address on it, and drop it in the mail.
Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll just actually clear out the setup for the next one. Thank you so much.
Was that awkward enough? That was fun.
Yeah, that's fun. I learned a lot.
Well, also, I was saying to people, I sort of wish we hadn't met at all until today.
Yeah.
But then we did really talk.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. I know, I'm sorry, I croaked about it a little bit.
That was great.
I'm glad there weren't that many people here. It made me feel more better. Well, also, my whole little cast was here, and I forgot they were coming, and then I'm like talking basically about it.
Oh yeah.
Your whole cast.
Yeah.
There they are.
But because I didn't actually look out to see who was here, I was like, oh no. Oh, right, he's here. I died. I started crying. Oh, you're right. So hard. Right. Thank you. Good job.
That's gonna go over here. Yeah.
He looks great.
Sean, can you share?
I do not want to. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just gonna put some in the email. That's where we have some other stuff. Okay. Yeah.